we do the digital because we can't afford the paper.
Right.
And I forget the second question, and she said, well, as a thank you, on Sunday, we'll give you a copy of your current for this Sunday. And I said, okay, so every Sunday for the past year, we get
I used to feel sorry for him. I don't. I stopped. I stopped. I mean, the guy just, they may overload the people because people from what I heard, they actually keep adding routes to the people.
Yeah, because they're losing a lot of
Because
drivers.
I think
Because
there's a house
Yeah.
between our two houses, and I think they're the only people on the street that actually have a newspaper.
We get the Sunday Times.
And it's the same guy that delivers
Yeah,
bills.
it is. It's like 11 o'clock.
Yep.
I'm like, Danny, you should call. It's not.
And
And
he's
he's wise, and he knows where your paper
I have a
is.
digital subscription to the New York Times, so,
That's what we do, and I told Dan, I'm like, just cancel it, but
hey, it's $60 a year.
They won't give you a credit. They will extend your subscription. Because I would call every day for 4 years. I would call. Trust me when I tell you. Every day I call. I give them an hour. It's supposed
Yeah,
to
they
be
don't
there
give
at 8
you
o'clock.
credit.
I get there
They
and
don't give you
you'll never.
credit.
oh, they don't.
They extend your.
They just extend your
Oh.
subscription.
I
So I
don't-
said, you know what? I'm not paying. The last time I got a call was about 3 months ago. And I said to this, unfortunately, most of the people that call, that you talk to, don't speak English.
Call centers, yeah.
So I said, I refuse to pay upfront for something that I know I'm not gonna get.
Yeah.
I tell you what, every time I get a paper, I'll send you a check. How's that? Instead of you billing me once a month for like 170 or 180, it was never the same every month. And when I added it up one time, it was over $2,000.
Oh my
And I'm
God.
saying, wait, I'm paying over $2,000
For very.
and I have to call?
Yeah.
No, that stops that silliness. As much as I love to read, so I just stopped reading the paper.
Yeah.
A friend of mine would get the digital, and he ended up saying they went from $5 to $15 a month. Never told anybody they were going to do it.
Well, that's
Just-
what's a month. they
I think
charge
that,
us.
yeah.
And it's hard to cancel.
Yeah.
I just don't pay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I said I got away with it for 4 years, and we had a good run, and it got caught up with me last about 3 weeks ago. But you know what? That's life. I'm sorry, but and I told the people because 2 guys on my street in the past 2 years they died. And they were dead sad, happy to read the paper anymore. So there was 4 of us at the top of the hill, and I think there may be 1 person further down the street. And those 2 guys died, of course, so their wives canceled the paper because they didn't care. And I would tell the people, I would call up, I said, you know, 2 of my neighbors canceled because of this service. They died, but they don't. And so now I'm the 3rd person. I just said, you know what? Stop. Just stop. So I'll see next month if I get a bill. Because I paid for 4 or 5 days in January, even though I got a bill for $180.
I had them for 40 years and they were fine.
Well, it's this last.
It's
this
been
last-
recent,
yeah.
yeah, last 2 years or so.
Now, do you pay in advance or how do you?
Oh, I do remember Ellis.
Yes, and it's a hassle because we want to pay every 6 months, because some of us want to pay for something in advance for another
Yeah,
fiscal
really.
year, but they were. it's
Yeah,
a
carrying
big
boxes up and
concern,
downstairs
it's like, just bill us for 6 months, and then we don't get the paper. We have a newer driver and it's been a little bit better, so except some days I find the paper in the middle of the parking lot.
The driver was good. You said they sent me a bill for 40% higher.
Yeah,
I said, oh my God, it's
That's
crazy after
so
40 years.
much.
It's too bad because.
Yeah, it's the only local paper we really have.
Exactly.
Bristol Press is like.
No, I got that a couple of times.
Nails
for free
and
and-
thinner and thinner every
Yeah.
year.
7 o'clock.
Okay.
One, before I start the meeting, the obituary on Alice Murakami, she did the book sale, she worked at the library, she volunteered. She passed at 100. And we're named as one of the beneficiaries. I paid for some money too. But she was, and what I was telling everybody, if we had a memorial fund for Alice, she would have it for buying banned books. She was tough.
But she was, yeah.
But friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah, friendly.
You would know.
Okay. We'll call to order at 7 o'clock. Oh, right on time. We have a on Zoom too?
Oh, we're on YouTube, yeah, and Debbie might be watching. I
Okay.
said she can watch them text me.
Okay,
She's got
the public comment. No public, no comment? Minutes, everybody have a copy of the minutes from January? Any comments, corrections? We have a motion to accept the minutes.
So,
Second,
Sure.
any further discussion? All those in favor?
Yeah.
Minutes have been approved. Correspondence?
Did not have anything.
I don't consider ours correspondence either, but, okay. Ongoing business, Friends of the Library.
It feels like so long.
it does seem like long ago. We're talking about doing some fundraising. This year is the 60th anniversary of the Friends, so we're going to have a celebration.
Oh,
Hello. We're going to have a celebration of March, on the 8th.
March 8th, yeah.
And then we were just kicking around some ideas for different fundraising things. Is there anything else? I don't.
Well, one thing we've done, and the budget is only a draft budget, but we've added $600 to the program for the year. We think that's important. And our total actual budget last year was $30,500. This year is going to be $29,000. So we've changed a few things, but I think we've added the programs. It was a special request from the library board and Zodi, and I think that's so far we only have 8 donors. For the year.
9, right? You just got another
Well,
one
that's right.
today.
I walked in today and there was $25 in cash in the envelope. So,
Sounds like peach and beer to me.
Not anymore.
Just a beer.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah. Sorry.
Or just a pizza, whichever.
oh, and
Small
also,
pizza.
well, our tax return has been filed and approved by the IRS. Basically, it's blank. Let's say you didn't make $50,000 and you're still here.
So that means you don't go to jail then?
Right.
Okay.
Jody has the funds. We have a little over $9,700 in our funds. So, we can spend, it's not in our budget, so we can spend that money above our budget. And we usually do very judicious about it. We don't put categories low when we spend it out of the designated funds. And so, other than that, sales tax has been filed, tax return has been filed, and the budget won't be approved until the next meeting.
Right.
We approve the treasurer's report, but we don't actually approve the budget. We just look at the numbers and complete it. And Sandy was talking about fun, we're gonna have fun for
Yeah,
patrons.
I'll talk about it a little bit
Yeah,
later
okay.
on, because I've got some other things to share. So.
I think that's it for the
I'm gonna
association.
stick it in under new business, even though I didn't, just to let you all know, I did talk to Right Way Signs, and they said we're about 2 weeks out from completing that sign. So I didn't put it on, because I'm so sick of talking about it without it actually being here, but I did follow up with them the other day, and they're about 2 weeks out, so.
I think we should christen it.
We are definitely going to take like a picture out there or something.
I think we were
Yes.
talking champagne.
Yes. We'll use that $25.
Yes.
I don't know, get the liquor store to sponsor it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there we go. Yeah.
They can come and take the picture.
Great, exactly.
That was it for.
That's new business?
That was really more ongoing, but I didn't stick it on there, so. I'm just throwing it in
Director's report.
Jody, are you
Can I-
talk about the thing that we?
there. Yes, I have that on. I'm
That's why I
actually,
didn't.
yeah, no, I've got that on my list.
Yeah.
I'm actually, after I did the agenda, something came up yesterday, in a chat with some other directors, and I'm gonna add this on. I want to talk about one of our policies, if that's okay. Our, meeting room use policy. There was a group that booked a room in Simsbury recently, and, some of the members of the town were upset that they were able to get a room, and I think that their policy for the meeting room reservation is being dissected a little bit. Sarah, would you say like that's a fair
Yeah.
thing? Ours is very good. It's very tight. It's very like, it's based on availability. It doesn't say anything, but there is some language that I think we need to consider removing. It says no group or activity which has the potential to endanger public safety will be allowed. I think that right now, in the times that we're in, people could really say that any group here that they don't agree with their meeting and what it's going to be about, it could be an endangerment to their safety or ideology or anything like that. And I think this could potentially invite some trouble if a group chooses to book the room. We are a public building. We cannot deny a meeting room to anybody. If it's available, we are not using it. They meet our, they fill out the paperwork and they do all that. There's no reason why I can deny them use of the room. And this right here, I think, makes it a little squishy. So what is everyone's thought on that?
We had that before for the same reason.
Yeah.
And I think it's, if we feel that that's gonna happen, I think we have the ability to deny it. I-
That being said,
The room could be booked for that.
yeah, I mean, look at it this way. There's two instances that have happened recently. One at Enfield Public Library and one at Simsbury. In Enfield, there was a group that reserved the room. It was not a library program, and it was for drag story time. And people were making threatening remarks, and it got to the point where it was so bad that the group ended up canceling. And then in Simsbury, a group from the other end of the spectrum wanted to use the room, and people were upset to learn that. So it doesn't matter where you fall. People are going to say they don't think that group should be using the room, but we cannot deny access. And saying that they endanger public safety, I just think
That's the kind of
that's-
language that people.
they're
weaponize.
looking for,
Yeah, these days.
so,
So is there a way to, I don't know this policy
Yeah.
that well, but is there a way if there is a problem to refuse them use after that?
it does say in this, so if you reserve the room and you did not return the keys when you were supposed to, or you did not leave and a lot when you were supposed to, and another program's when you get it, and or you did not clean up the room, I could say the next time, unfortunately, our policy states that you were supposed to leave the room in the condition that you found it, that you were supposed to be out by 6 o'clock, so book club could get in there and you didn't leave until 7. You could say, based on past behaviors or breaking of those rules, you wouldn't be allowed to book it again.
But is there anything like, say, somebody books the room
Mhm.
and it requires like the police have to be called, like there's problems. Could they book it again?
No.
No, because it does say here if a group is refused permission, it can appeal, but I don't think there's anything that says anything specific to that.
I would think we'd leave the policy, but if it's, we'd leave it to the police to decide whether that's, as opposed to changing the writing. There's no way you can make anybody
No.
happy.
When, we wrote this policy
Before all.
right, before all of this.
Yeah.
It was an update, we did it as the renovation was occurring, so that we
Right.
would be ready and have a room policy ready. That was before all these protests and threats
Yeah.
and whatever.
With simpler times.
Yeah.
But,
Having the order
I
of
mean, I can see where people are gonna, picket a meeting
Mhm.
and then
Yeah.
people would feel threatened and uncomfortable.
I mean, there are things you can do, like you can have a clause that anyone can book the room, but it has to be open to the public. So like, I can show up and I can come to your meeting.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
and that
Yeah.
is,
So,
that's based on the state library
Yeah.
too. Any person that uses that room, even if you're doing it because you're having like a group seminar, or you have your coworkers are here, whatever, someone could technically walk in. This is a public
It says
building.
right there,
so-
meeting is
It
not
does,
available for
yeah.
private function.
Yes, so,
yeah, I mean, that's kind of the direction I would go in, is that it's not, they're open to the public. If you want to have your meeting here and you're happy with whoever walking in on it.
Well, I think it's more of if you want to have your meeting here, then you need to be okay with whoever walking
Right.
in. Not
Right,
necessarily
exactly.
you're happy with it, but it's just you need to be all right with that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
by the same token, to the aspect with the police, my feeling on that is like we should go into it with the assumption that the group reserving the room is doing nothing,
Exactly.
and it's
Yeah.
just people
Yes.
outside
Yeah.
who are causing trouble.
Yes.
So as long as the group getting the room is not doing anything,
Yeah.
then it's not even our hands are tied. It's just we have no business about it.
Yes.
And we at least, I mean, I know it's different here because we have the resident state troopers, but if the police got called at the Canton
Yeah.
Library and the police decided they weren't coming back, they're not coming back. That's out of my hands.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's a
Oh,
good point.
interesting.
Yeah.
It's that public safety clause, like
Yeah.
I understand the idea of getting rid of it, but I want to make sure I also understand what we can do if we feel there is.
We can, what we do is if we think there's something that has the potential to be weird,
Yes.
we call the police.
That's
Yes.
exactly what
We'll
I
say,
would
hey,
do.
just so you know,
Yes.
this is going on.
Yes. If I had a certain group that I thought people might have,
Strong opinions.
yes, I would let the police department know ahead of time and let them know this is, at this date, I will have a program. Now, we're different from other libraries. We don't have a public booking system and we don't put events, like nobody knows on our public calendar that Boy
Oh,
Scouts have a meeting.
right.
So, that's another,
The other thing you can do is if you get something that looks problematic, just real quick schedule a library
I
program. and
know,
one's on Hill.
yeah, I know. Well, but Sarah, that being said, when this happened, the same group from Simsbury, when they booked Avon's room, they booked it under a different
Under a different name, yeah. Yeah,
So
you don't know.
there's,
What was the group in Simsbury again?
it was the Moms for Liberty group. So,
Ah.
I know that Simsbury is looking into whether they can require anyone booking the room to show their paperwork. You can't book it under some other name. If you are
Yeah.
Organization X,
yeah.
you need to prove that you are,
Do we have a residency? I'm sorry.
That's another question.
I thought we had a clause
No.
that you had to be a member, you had to be a.
The price
resident
is
of town.
different if you are a resident. So if you're a nonprofit group in Burlington, we wouldn't charge, but a nonprofit group from another town, we can charge them, or the rates are a little bit
And
different.
the other thing for the residency was the public comment during the meetings is that you have to have a single representative who is a resident.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can't.
That's not the meetings, that's a different.
Right.
Yeah,
that's
this was
that's what I was
for-
saying. It's
yeah.
that's a different aspect.
What I'm thinking is, if we change it,
Mhm.
we've taken away all discretion. If we just leave it,
I don't think we have discretion. This is a public building.
Well,
and
I don't think
not-
we do. I think if someone sued you over that, you would lose.
And I,
Yeah,
You know,
and I
I-
think they're looking
Yeah.
for
Oh,
library
it could be,
policies or
yeah.
language.
Yeah.
So
right?
Yeah.
I like the idea of if there is a group that seems like it could be problematic, just let the police know. Maybe they'll show up. Just have a presence.
Absolutely.
And then
Yeah.
literally if anything happens, then just leave it to them.
Yeah.
Because then you've got you have the accountability because the police are there as witnesses as well as to handle anything if they do get too rowdy. And so it's not going to be like the bathrooms where people
Right.
just wandered off and
Right.
destroyed stuff, because somebody would know, somebody would see, and the police are right there ready to take action. And you and your staff are able to step back
Right.
and say, I mean, it's not your job to do that stuff, and it shouldn't be.
I'm thinking that before we change it, we should have the town attorney look at it.
I thought about that, but policies fall under the board to decide.
Yeah.
So
Well, this-
why
this goes
involve
beyond that.
them?
This,
No, it doesn't.
I-
I think so,
We didn't have them look at this when we wrote it.
true.
And other towns have gone through the same thing. I mean, I think it's pretty well established that it's, if it's open to everyone, it's open to everyone.
So you take out,
I would take out just this one sentence. This right here was just for my reference to what would happen if somebody was refused, but there would be no
Yeah.
reason to refuse unless it was like Jen was saying, what if in the past they had done
They've
something?
done
And then
something.
I would
Yeah.
refer them to whatever incident
so
report I
you
had.
leave the big paragraph.
Oh, yeah, that was, like I said, that was
Okay,
just
just-
for my reference there. It would just be, I would remove no group or activity which has the potential to endanger the public safety will be allowed.
And so our
Yeah.
discretion is still in the bigger paragraph. You still have discretion.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I
But
don't
it's
think
a
I could
little-
deny anyone to book a room
Right,
if
but
they
it's-
haven't
but
done
it's-
anything.
But it's there, if it,
Yeah.
you know, if it came up,
Yeah.
we
I can
definitely.
tell you exactly why that sentence was put in there. There was a KKK meeting
Right,
Yeah.
yep.
Oh, the
Scheduled-
danger, okay, yeah.
scheduled at one of the libraries, and it turned into this, I think it was Glastonbury or something, and there was this huge
Yeah,
kerfluffle, and we said, all right, you know, it
yeah.
was awful, and that's why that was put in there.
Can you pull, like if they book the room and then all of a sudden you see advertisement for the group that's not, in like the Liberty group, you saw that they said they're gonna meet here, could you say, oh, you can't have this room?
I think that would again be something I would defer to the police for and say, we have a group and if you deem this as a public safety issue, or the board of selectmen.
And see, that's the thing is for that statement,
Oh, yeah.
I would just ask the question, who decides
Right.
if it's an issue of public safety?
Right.
Yeah.
You
Right.
you don't have the authority to do that. Your staff doesn't have the authority. We don't have the authority.
And
The
you may not all
police
agree.
do.
Well, that's very true. too.
And that's the thing
Yeah.
is the police would be the end all be all,
Yeah.
and so they should be the
And they
start
may
and the
not-
finish in the middle.
They may not have problems, maybe it
And
might be
that's-
just a very
that's true.
calm meeting, you know?
Exactly, and so that's why I think the statement as it's written, it's too ambiguous,
Mhm.
and it also opens up the library
Yes.
to all sorts of issues because it's way too easy to say, oh well, you just said that my group was a threat to public safety because you don't like us,
Yeah. Exactly.
and
Yeah.
But you had a program with this person or you had a display about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
and it just
Jen, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna ask, if you scroll up,
Mhm.
how often are people who are not Burlington residents using these rooms?
Oh, often. We've got like law offices that do like Medicare. We have this financial guy that does workshops. There's people that do use it.
Can we up our prices?
That's certainly something that we can consider
Because
down the road. Yeah, or just
because that
Very
might be,
common.
I just like,
Yeah.
if we have to deal with these kind of outside events,
yeah.
like, I don't know, I feel like up,
I don't want to deter people from using our rooms too, though. That's the thing. Like the people that do that financial group, like they've been coming here for years. I would right now without fines. This is really our only source of bringing anything in. Not that it comes to us, but it's budgeted to the town that will bring in $3,000 this year, for example. So I don't know. I could compare our rates and see how comparable they are to others.
But that wouldn't change the wording, right? What do you think?
No.
No, the wording, yeah. Like
no,
with
that,
the
I'm just
rates.
like trying to think, like, of not decentivizing it, but
Yeah.
kind of making sure that the extra added effort
Yeah.
that has to go into monitoring the groups and
Sure.
all that
And-
is.
What
really cheap.
is there
Yeah,
language in
yeah.
there somewhere?
$10
Like,
an
so
hour
for
the
Burlington
nonprofit.
nonprofit or civic groups, does that mean the group itself is in Burlington or that it has a member?
Burlington nonprofit. I would. You mean this column right here, Sarah?
Yeah.
I would say it's any Burlington nonprofit or. Yeah. See, this is another like sticky.
Yeah,
like-
but that's something that, because that's another thing you could do is say they have to be established as an organization in town.
Yeah,
So that would allow like the Boy Scouts to use it, but not,
the Harrington Boy Scouts to use it
Yeah.
or something. Yeah, I think that the way we look at it, and it's just like in an effort to be accommodating. If you're calling from Harrington and you're the Girl Scout troop,
but
you
I'm,
don't charge.
but I'm thinking
yeah.
too of like, something like Moms for Liberty, they are a
Yeah.
nonprofit.
Yes, they are a 501c.
Right,
Yeah.
so they would need to find a Burlington resident to do
To book the
to do
room.
the booking for them. But maybe you, maybe you
They'd
need
have a
that
higher
structure
rate.
somehow.
Because they're not a Burlington group.
But if
But
you
if-
have
if-
a member,
if you have a
books
member
the
who does it,
room-
That's what I'm asking, is that spelled out
Didn't
somewhere?
we spell that out? I
Now,
thought we did.
but wouldn't, yeah,
What to find, because I remember we went through school and,
Well,
eligibility.
for example, on our tax return for the Library Association, I list the address as Burlington.
Mhm.
Yeah,
To me, that would be the answer.
yes. So what if you were
If you're
in the
member-
group, but your
Right.
person
If
is Hartford?
If they're claiming from another town, they're out of town.
Yeah.
All right, so it says rooms are available without charge to Friends of the Library, the Burlington Library, Town of Burlington, Regional School District 10, and nonprofit Burlington-based groups or organizations whose mission is to specifically benefit the community of Burlington and Burlington-based 501c3 charitable
Yeah.
nonprofits
We're covered.
with tax ID
Yeah.
numbers.
Oh, wow, you guys thought of it.
So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're covered.
so then I would ask, what does it mean by helping the community of Burlington or improving the community? Because anybody on any side of any spectrum is going to say we are doing
That's
good
what
for
our
the
organization
community,
is doing, yeah.
no matter who.
But it would still have to have, like, the tax ID would be,
Right.
the address would have to be in
What are you doing? The
Burlington.
Burlington group, and I don't think we'll ever run into that. You're nonprofit, but you don't help the town.
And really all that is determining if they're gonna pay $25 or $0. It's not, I don't think, a very big deterrent
Yeah,
to
right.
use our space, so. But,
You wanna go back to the thing and we wanna vote on taking out that one sentence?
Yeah, I think I think we're ready to vote on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sentence at least, and maybe look
Okay.
into the costs.
yeah, okay.
We'll take out the first one, right? Just to
Yeah,
show
this
you.
right here, the second chunk is just for me, so
Okay.
I'll unhighlight.
Any more discussion on that?
All right.
All those in favor?
I,
Next meeting, we'll prove it.
Okay.
Because you still have discretion.
Yeah.
You still have discretion. And we don't get into if we take it to the police and they
Yeah.
decide that's beyond us.
Like, I guess to answer Jen's question, 'cause, like, much later, finally came to my mind, like, say the kid that destroyed the bathroom, like, am I gonna let him have a meeting in it? Probably not, based on, you were arrested for destruction or something. So I guess it would have to be something like that would fall under the library director of the board has the right to deny or something like that. But I think it has to be like approved past practice of
We talked
misuse.
about, people coming in and spilling stuff all over the
Right.
carpet.
Yeah.
That's covered. We've already got that covered.
Yeah. Okay, all right, well, thank you for that, I will work on that. All right. And now I'm up again. Let's see.
Budget report?
Okay. All right, you should all have the budget. We are in good shape. The union contract did get ratified. It goes we're in the middle of pay period right now, so next week is when union members will see retroactive pay. And Jen, you had asked last meeting, it does go back to July 1, which is the start of the contract. So I was able, with minimum wage going up, to work with Doug to get an increase for my part-time non-union staff members as well. That was approved at a Board of Selectmen meeting a few weeks ago, so they were able to get a little bit of a bump, so. Yeah, everything is looking pretty good. The programming budget is low right now, it hasn't been spent, but I've told the staff, start spending, because I know I'll be going in soon, and I want to make sure everyone knows that this is a crucial part of our budget, and we are using it. I think we were just so used to the Friends paying for everything, but April paid for her Take Your Child to the Library program with that money, and then she's paying for another workshop, so that will probably be a lot different when we see it next time.
That's
So,
our biggest expense so far is $978 in January for
for
programs.
programs, yeah, and we are doing so many programs though, so.
And I did the math, 7 out of 12 months, we should be at 58%,
Yeah.
we're below that.
A little low.
So-
So, materials were a little lower than expected, and I truly feel like we're ordering everything we need, so I might at the end, toward like around May, early June, use some of that money for Hoopla. Right now, I've already had the town give $1,500 to Hoopla from the ARPA money, and I don't think I have any more in my request for that. So I will talk about the money that was in our account though, to see if I can use some of that for put together a
Is it still
official.
being used a lot?
Yes, yes, which takes us to our stats. Hoopla saw its biggest month so far. We had 112 unique users and 275 materials were checked out. So the stats were up for circulation. They're going to look lower for program attendance and programs because January was the month of every school delay possible. So we had to cancel so many of our morning programs, like probably 2 weeks worth of story times and morning yoga. There were several things, and there was an evening program or two that had to be canceled as well. So the program numbers look a little low, but if we hadn't had those cancellations, then we would have probably been higher than we normally are. So look at April's numbers for children's program attendance. It's amazing. So, and that was not Take Your Child to the Library Day. I wasn't here on Saturday, but on Monday, I think 3 separate people told me it was absolutely like rocking in here on Saturday. So
I was here.
all that were you here?
Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah.
stopped in briefly. It was
Yeah,
awesome.
you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just gonna make my ins and my outs. Yeah, they had programs all day long going on, and then culminating with an Anansi the Spider performance where there were several actors involved and kids were able to participate.
My wife
So.
was here for the whole thing.
Was she here for the
She
whole
loved it.
thing? Good for her.
I came in one day and it said, snowing out and programs are canceled.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can't,
Um,
the school's late, that's it.
if school's
Yeah.
delayed, we
School is
follow there, and if it's dismissed early, there was one day when Region 10 dismissed early, when I don't really think they needed to, but we follow.
But if they hadn't, it would
The
have been.
policy, yes, and then I think they might have been closed today. So we're doing pretty well on monthly visitors. We're almost right where we were last year at this time. And the study rooms are being used constantly. The meeting room, the conference room are being used a lot for programs as well, for people asking to use the building. So I'm gonna rearrange these for the next time because I never like to do, I like to do C last, but we had some issues with the boiler last month and the power went out. It was actually during the Friends meeting, and anytime the power goes out, the boiler trips. So the next day I noticed right when I came in, the heat wasn't on, and when I went to put the boiler on, it just wasn't firing up. So I had to call Train for my first emergency. It was so upsetting. Like I made it so far. And they came out and it turns out something had happened with the air handler. They were able to fix it. However, that was a Thursday. On Friday, we were here. Saturday, we were here. Sunday, we were closed. Monday, we were closed for a holiday. And I came in on Tuesday and it was freezing in here. It was like 48 degrees freezing in here. So I go down and check the boiler and it is just not kicking on. What happened was, and I'm going to get my technical terms wrong, even though I had them written down and I left them on my desk. The thing that needs the water in the boiler, Craig, go ahead and jump in anytime you know what that thing is called.
They usually call it a big water unit.
So
I don't
it's like a
know.
little thing, but what had happened was there was no water getting into the boiler. So therefore, it had been off since Sunday around 5 o'clock, and I had to call Train again. And this was the day where it was snowy. We were still here. We closed because it was too cold to have the public in, and I stayed and I waited for Train. So they said you have to have a plumber come in. Larry, Scott, and Jason, I believe, came out from town hall. They said what had happened was there's like some sort of switch that you can turn on and off the flow or whatever, the water. It had been off, and they think that, not that we can say, but we're wondering if maybe when the Train guy was there on Thursday, he did something, and then everything is fixed. That's the moral of the story. It was expensive, but I had budgeted for, I think, 5 emergency Train visits for the year, but I was brokenhearted that I had to call them twice in a couple of days.
There was no water in the boiler.
There was no water in the boiler. I cannot think of the word. There's like
There's a valve that turns it off.
and that's what the valve, it
There's
was
different
turned
kinds of
off,
valves.
yes. And
Usually that's,
So
I don't know why you would want to turn that off.
they said, yes, I don't know why
They might do it to
I.
work on it, so they wouldn't get shocked when they forgot to turn it.
Yes.
You get shot from water.
But Larry
Well, anyway,
and
yeah.
Jason and
I don't do
Scott were able
boilers.
to fix it, so. That you'll notice right now, our building expenses look great. We only spent 26% of the building maintenance budget, but next month it might look a little bit. So.
There's no alarm when the boiler goes off?
There's an alarm, but you have to physically look at the boiler to see it. It's red, so,
Sorry,
yeah.
Why would you do this?
I can,
Why
next
would they-
time they come out for like a maintenance, I'm certainly not calling them
No,
back
no,
to
no,
show
no.
me, but I'll ask if like, do I get a text?
I
Could
was
I
just gonna
get
s-
something?
How hard would it be?
Yeah.
I thought after the pipe burst that year, there
It
was
was a
a
frozen pipe.
text. There was a text that was supposed to go out. Either when the building got to a certain
Yeah,
temperature or whatever, you should have received a
maybe
text.
it didn't get to that
It should have gone
temperature.
to Doug.
I don't know.
It was
Scott maybe, or Jim, might be
You can
Jim.
ask them.
I will
Ask-
ask,
ask
I will
them.
ask them next time they come out for a
In this
scheduled
day and age, to
maintenance,
send
so.
a text to you.
Yes.
That'd be a lot, the cost would be a lot less than the ice freeze.
But then again, if it was a Sunday when it happened, and even if I got Monday was the holiday, I
Also,
don't
we'll
know.
find out what the limits on the temperature was too,
I
because it may
will.
not have gone out at 48
Right.
degrees.
Yeah,
Maybe.
that's what I'm wondering. It was like 52, I think, when I
Well,
came in, and then it
it's-
started going down.
Because if somebody turned the
So,
shut off
I
off,
know, and that's what Larry
That's-
said had happened, and since training had just been, but of course I can't say
I know.
your guy did it,
No,
even though I don't want to. Can I get a alert for boiler? Okay, and what is temp? Okay, so other than that, everything in the building is in good shape. We are getting the sign hopefully in a few weeks, so that is soon to be done. And Scott, I know we're on his list for getting some junk out of the basement, so.
you see they took the trees down over there after.
They did that
After
in
a bazillion
October.
years.
They did that
Oh,
in
really?
October, yeah.
Oh,
Yes, so
We
that's been,
found a safe down here too.
oh, we did find a
So this is
space.
with our incorporation papers.
Oh,
And
yeah,
you're
very
gonna
safe.
leave. I thought they were gonna be
No
like,
money.
We thought it
Pirate
was gonna be
treasure.
way more exciting.
There's a
Cause
lot
it was
of-
like
but there's a
hidden
key.
down there. Yeah,
Programmable, but they have a key.
Yeah.
I think Ian Warlock used to keep it.
yeah, we were really excited though
Yeah,
for.
but nobody.
I know.
Yeah, money,
Like a
buried
pencil.
treasure, buried
Who
treasure. Oh, yeah, that's that too, yeah. I was thinking buried treasure myself.
I've never seen it.
No.
I've never seen it.
So there's,
It's big.
yeah. There's a few things I'd like to share. One of them kind of falls under the Friends business. The Friends have very generously agreed to sponsor a new database for us. It's the Library Speakers Consortium. So what this is you will get best-selling authors to do live author talks where you can submit questions ahead of time, or you can submit them during the event. And this is something, if we're watching it here, they could be watching it anywhere in the United States. It's not specifically for us. And if you can't watch it live, they do keep their events where you can go and watch them after they've been recorded. I did ask her, I said, how come I'm not seeing some of these really amazing authors like, Geraldine Brooks, for example, on here? And she said a lot of the big name authors, their contracts will only agree to have their video up for about 180 days. So, but that's still not bad. So the way this works is you can either watch it on your own at home, or you can stream it here and we can have a viewing party. So my idea is when we have some bigger name authors, like look at this one coming, Frida McFadden, we could do a fun night here where it's a watch party and people can come and watch together, but you can also watch at home. So this is great to reach out to book clubs. They are current authors. They are starting a kids series in the summer with Kate DiCamillo as one of their featured authors. So every time there is an author talk happening, whether we're going to do a watch party or not, I'm going to put it on our program calendar as an event. So people can access it easily. And it's an event. And then they will keep statistics for not only which one was viewed, and how many people. But they'll provide statistics for that as well. So I think this is excellent. It's going to be $2,000, and the Friends were so generous
I
to
wouldn't
agree to
have any problem
fund it.
budgeting under events or programs.
Yeah.
Either.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with that.
So it's they've got some really great people that they've partnered with, and if you, I don't know if I can. Trying to see if I can check out where.
I know we tried to see if we had to have library card.
Yeah, they recommend. I mean, I guess you could restrict it, but they recommend that you don't.
Yeah.
So they just say, oh, well, don't share it, and say the Farmington Library, advertise for us.
Can anybody access
Anybody
it?
can access it. It'll-
Anybody in the whole country?
Yes, so it'll end up being
Cool.
on our landing page, and they'll access it just like they do. I'm just trying. Oh, I know where it is.
If they've got the link.
Yeah, if you get the link. Yep. Okay, let me
Too
see.
much of a hassle to put it behind like a library card wall or something.
They didn't recommend it, and I mean, we can always change our mind and restrict it, but
But even then, it's like you send it out to somebody and then they send it out to all their friends and family or whatever, and it becomes way too much of a hassle.
so you can see this is one of the recent ones. So this kind of all came about because Glastonbury, a few months ago, somebody happened to notice that they had John Stamos doing like an author talk, and like what's going on. And then this is how it kind of got brought to my attention. But it's really good quality. Each one's about an hour long. It's dependent on where this is going to be airing from. So programs might be not at a standard 6:30, 7 o'clock time. It might be an afternoon program or an early evening, but they can always access it down the road. So
Being a writer is who I am.
So it's
You know,
good
it's
quality.
for you,
You
I
know,
need to
it's
be a
not
writer.
bad.
It's
So
just, it's part of my
How do they
DNA.
get you the cookies?
I was
what?
How do they get you the cookies?
Get you the cookie.
What kind are they? I did one of these last year through Farmington, I think. I
Yeah.
forget which library I signed up through, and it was great.
Was it? Oh, that's
Mary
good to
Roach,
hear.
and she answered my question.
Mary. Oh, that
I
was
was
so
so excited.
exciting. Did you submit it ahead of time?
No,
or did you
during
check-
it.
That's really
Yeah, she
cool.
said something that made me think of a question, and with the sea of things that were going through there, I was like,
Oh, that's
I-
really
I
exciting.
felt
How
very
did you
cool.
get the question to her?
you type
You
it.
type it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like with Zoom. There's
Yeah.
like a chat box.
We
I
kind of,
think the main thing as you tell people about this is that it's remote. The library got flooded with people who thought they were seeing John Stamos.
Oh yeah. Yes.
It was a
No.
rush on the library.
Yes. As cool as it would be to have it here, like Freedom Academy will not, but yes, absolutely. So that is an exciting new offering that we will be having on March 1st. They're working on our landing page now.
we kind of
so.
agree that if it's popular, we keep it up. And if it wasn't
Yeah.
popular, we would find some other way.
They'll lock in that price of $2,000 for 3 years for us, whether or not we use it for 3 years. So, which was, I mean, still a little pricey, but our spring calendar events is nearly done. I think tomorrow's the deadline everyone has for getting their stuff to Christy, and then she'll work on the publicity, and we plan to release the flyer the week of February 18th, and then people will be able to register for activities. I'm going to be meeting with Kate, I'm going to try to say her last name, Kirchart, and Susan Sudecki from the Main Street Foundation in a few weeks, and we're going to discuss some grant possibilities and ideas for the Bell Fund, the Burlington Community Fund, and see if we can maybe get some of our needs met through the grant. So the cycle did change. The deadline is sooner than we had originally thought, but they're going to come and hear what our needs are, help me brainstorm, and Christy, Caitlin, Alex, and no, not Christy, Caitlin, Alex, April, and Jasmine are all going to look through their departments to see if there's something that they have a need for that we might use it for. April had already said she's got some summer reading events that we might be able to consider asking them to
We have
sponsor.
money there, and I just picked up a check for $960 for this year. So,
Yeah. My initial idea is to ask them to pay for Hoopla, but I don't know if that's really what their vision is for spending. But that's going to be what I go with, but I'll be open to like, having help with anything. So
they have to give away money.
yeah.
They really have to. So, I'm not,
And the last thing I'd like to share with all of you is Sandy talked about it a little bit. On March 8th, we're going to celebrate the Friends of their 60 years of service. Please come. Yes, this is not a registration event. Christy did such a great job with the promotion. It's Echoes of Yesterday, a historic photo exhibition. So Scott and I picked about 60 photos to have printed. I don't know if any of you saw in the display case as you walked in. I have some there. We ordered them from Mix Tiles, and they were about 13 to 15 a picture because I had a promo code, and we'll sell them. I'm gonna talk to the friends about a price, but probably like 25. And we used money from the History Room Fund for that, and we're hoping to make a little bit of a profit on that. If somebody wants a picture and somebody else has purchased it, they'll be able to order it, and we'll have a pretty quick turnaround. So there's going to be live music. There's going
There
to
will
be
be cookies.
there's going to be cookies. There's going to be a signature. There'll be a signature mocktail that has a tie to Burlington. That was invented actually by a Burlington resident, but I'm not going to tell you any
Ooh, I
more
think
about
I know
that.
I
So,
would say
I can guess.
and do you want to guess? As a lot of people have been guessing one thing, so go ahead.
I think it has something to do with the cider mill.
That's the common guess, but it does not. So, and there's even a celebrity in one of our historic pictures, and if you can name who that celebrity is, you will win a prize. So, and it is like a legit famous person. These are some of the things that it's not like, it's an actual person that's like nationwide. These we'll also be honoring a group of some of the friends who have given some wonderful dedicated service to the library. We're going to have some items for sale. This is a set of note cards that I printed out. There's, I think, 5 different images on the note cards.
We get to take one?
No, you get to pass it around and look. And
Oh, they're all different.
we'll have some, it's a set of 5. And we'll have some other items, like maybe some magnets or something like that. And they'll be for sale.
So with the images, is there going to be like a catalog or something available? So even if something isn't printed, it's like, oh, I want that. But
They'll
it's
be
not, so-
numbered, so if you see something you like, you can come up and we'll have friends that are helping out at the event who can take an order, and you'll pay there, and then you'll get your picture.
Well, but
Yeah.
that's what I mean. What about ones that aren't necessarily on display?
No,
that we still
it's
have?
just the ones that are on display. Yep. And then we're hoping this is something we can do, probably not annually, but regularly enough where we can have different pictures to choose from. And Scott and I were already talking about maybe using a set of photos of people and places doing like historic advertisements that were in town, or Johnny Cake posters or Tavern Day posters.
Well, and you could even use that as like a theme day or a theme night for as far as the sales are concerned. Like, come see historical advertisements or come
Right.
see historical. I mean, doing the Tavern Day advertisements at Tavern Day would be really cool.
Oh, yeah.
So stuff like that, for example.
So,
How many people have read the Burlington book? Okay, yeah.
I looked at the picture.
I don't know if I read it, but I looked at the pictures. Thanks for saying it, so I didn't have
Yeah,
to.
where was it?
The
Which
Burlington
one?
was in 2 different
One down by the
places.
river or that one?
Yeah, there were
That was
2.
down by the river, right where the intersection of 4 and 179 is.
Oh,
Before the flood.
And then it was somewhere, I think it was where Joni's was too,
Yeah.
though.
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And Scott has done captions for all the photos too, so people will be able to read about them. And there'll be a little dedication area for the friends. And we're inviting all groups in Burlington. We're hoping that business owners and the Historical Society and the Lions Club, the Boys, all people that might see themselves in these photos, might not. The Grange, we've got some great pictures from Woodville. So I hope that all of you come. It starts at 6 to 7:30, 6 to 8.
Oh, I think this was my picture.
Well, and
Was it?
I think so, yeah. This was in one of my grandmother's pictures.
Oh, that's
I
a great
donated it.
picture. Oh, well, thank you, Sarah.
well, the Historical Society in particular would be really interesting because they may be able to give better context to some of the stuff than even Scott could.
I don't think anyone can top Scott. In that.
I
I'm
said
just
maybe.
telling you
The
that.
Historical
I'm
Society
gonna-
people, probably not, honestly. I was on the board until recently.
Well.
They're more about the building than
It would still
But
be
he has taken so much time to research all of these, so And unless anyone has any questions for me, that's all I have.
Yeah. I have one thing. In the paper the other day, one of the library boards in the state, 4 of the 5 members resigned. Anybody know why? What the reason is?
Are you talking about
That was-
Suffield?
That was Enfield.
No, that was
Or
not
Suffield?
Suffield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the reason
One of
behind
the
it?
fields.
Suffield is a hot mess.
do you want to adjourn and then we
Yeah.
can?
Okay,
Talk?
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, go ahead, Sandy.
Chuck, Greg, you have one question. Why we didn't get the
Oh, the
grant
granite.
post?
I'm guessing it just came down to cost. Scott just said.
But we had $30,000 set aside.
No,
Yes, we did.
but not, and that was for the digital. The new amount was, I think, the 9,000.
Well, yeah, I know.
So,
They were
yeah.
giving us 10,000 a year. For
No,
20
they were,
they
oh,
were
yeah,
gonna
was it
give us
30,000?
10,000
Yeah,
for
a year.
3
Yeah,
years
yeah,
to get the
for the
digital.
digital,
So
yeah,
theoretically, we had.
yeah.
That's why I didn't bother asking.
The
Okay.
sign was, I don't know. It just, that's what it ended up being.
Well, I
And at
just-
that point,
I'll turn the meeting then at 4:08.
Second.
I'm
Did you have
interested
another question, Jody?
I'm interested in the library board.
Just out of curiosity, when you said last week that we were getting the water cooler,